tech issue, but picking up where I left off and talking about Sub-Zero, one issue that I had was outside of what they did with the original character at the end is what we had with how they were having Sub-Zero, just be alive in present day following the events of the, the top of the film. There wasn't any kind of explainer as to why that was. Like, was it some type of sorcery, like something that allowed him to live through that time? I mean, with Scorpion, you were able to go with it because you were like, okay, he's dead. So like that's why he was able to come back from hell. But like with Sub-Zero, there wasn't anything there to kind of explain that. I mean, I could go with the powers because you could just say that was his unique ability that as a chosen warrior, he had that ability. However, it kind of took me out of it because they didn't really explain that. And then on top of that too, for someone, I get this, I understand, what the backstory is, but it would have still been helpful to see, what the motivation was. Is they just threw you right into like the conflict between the Lin Kuei and the Shiroryu, and didn't really explain like where that conflict had come from. It even would have been helpful, even if it was just like a throwaway line of them talking about what happened or why they were, at war or in conflict with each other would have been helpful. I mean, they could have gone a multitude of ways if they wanted to go by the way of the game. And I'm glad I have the spoiler up. We had the involvement of Quan Chi in why, that conflict came about and how he kind of like orchestrated and manipulated that hatred of those characters. However, if you didn't go that route, if you decided to go another route, it would have been helpful. So like whether you decided to go the route of the game or decided to go an original route, just in adapting the film, would have given a better context of why they were in conflict with each other than simply just having them fight each other. I don't know what your thoughts on that, but that was one main thing between, like I said, Sub-Zero surviving all that time and them explaining that conflict more clearly.
Like I agree. I do agree with that. No, you're right. That is something I was like, because it just showed like, oh, he's just killing his family or whatever. Yeah. No, I agree. Like, I don't think, like I said, I give this movie probably give it like a B, maybe like a B minus, something like that. It's not.
I would
still
give it a B
enjoyed
minus because I mean, there's enough there for you to enjoy if you really love the game and some of the elements here. But that's just me. That's because I just love the game that much.
Yeah, exactly.
That I'll give it as a B minus. But I mean, in any other circumstance,
it's not
like I said, it provides a good foundation. But
I agree.
There's still far more that they could do. And to your point, like they did. Sub-Zero did become Noob Saibot after being killed by Scorpion, but considering what we have with the new Sub-Zero, it'll be interesting to see what they do with that, because again, going back to that timeline issue, in the original lore, he is the brother, the good Sub-Zero is the brother of the original Sub-Zero. So how are they going to do that if they decide to bring that character back or the new iteration of that character back? Are they going to say that he's a descendant? Because that's the only logical way that, at least in my opinion, that you could do that and make that have that make sense, is saying that. Unless they do a retcon and say somehow that their powers allows them to age slowly, I don't know. Like,
but I will say, like, I guess I'll give you the part. Yes, they could have developed that. Why was that rivalry happening at the beginning? I think they should have done that. That's also an issue. But to me, it didn't really bother me that he was in modern days, because it's like they explain how, like, hey, you obviously see he's with Shang Tsung and the outer world people. They didn't explain a lot about like why these guys are with him, but like you're believing that, hey, they're with this outer world that's just rigging the game. They're killing as many of the human fighters, and it's like he's obviously, if Shang Tsung is keeping these guys around him, to me it's just like he's obviously somehow protecting them or allowing them to stay alive.
Well, that's what I was saying. Even if it's a throwaway line, because I mean, if you recall, even in the original Mortal Kombat, they had that throwaway line when they had Scorpion and Sub-Zero about to fight, Earth's warriors on the boat. Shang Tsung said, Scorpion and Sub-Zero, the deadliest of enemies, but slaves of my power. So like you were able to put, imply, okay, there's some things that he's doing to kind of, keep them around. So, I mean, that's all I'm saying. Just have a throwaway line of something, to explain that, or say maybe, like I said, his abilities
Well, I don't think it's
slow
I
down
don't
the
think it's
aging
the ability.
process or something
I
like
don't think
that.
it's the ability. It's probably
Because like even if you're going under the rules of what they introduce in the movie, we have these chosen warriors, and yes, they have abilities, like they can find their special ability, whatever that may be. But there's nothing in that they explain about them,
that's
about
true.
it,
No, you're right. You're right.
expanding their life or making them like age younger. If they did that, then fine, I would go with it and just kind of, sweep it under the rug and just go with Sub-Zero. But, have a throwaway
Yeah.
line or
No, I
something.
agree. I agree. Yeah, I mean, they could have. No, they definitely could explain more. No, I mean, that's why, like I said, I wouldn't give like an A or nothing. But I guess after a while, because I'm also comparing it to the other movies, I'm just like, I still like the first one and the second one, whatever. I mean, there's some parts, but um, yeah, I guess I was just so satisfied. I was like, oh yes, at least they're getting the tone. They're doing, I was the things that I was looking for. Like I wasn't looking at this movie like, oh my goodness, the story has to be, you know. I still enjoy the Fast and Furious movies, and they do some of the, they think they're super humans and shit, and it's like, come on, man, like, what they're good, like the next one they're gonna be mutants and stuff, I don't know, they got super strength and nothing kills Dominic Toretto, and then they come back to life. I mean, it's the same crap, but Mortal Kombat, it's like at least you set that up, and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, the setup and everything could have been better, and they could have been more detailed, but I was just so glad that they got the tone right, they made it interesting. They with the world building and all that, and it's not over. It's not like, oh, it's just a straight up tournament, you know. But yeah, I mean, it's a good start. It's a good start, and there's still a lot more that they can introduce and they can continue on. But yeah, the stuff I was looking for, I was satisfied in that end. So I was like, yes, at least New Line Cinema and Warner Brothers, they got it in their head like, yes, people want to see. We don't want to see a watered down version of, like, you want to do a watered down PG-13 version of something, like, that's Super Mario Brothers. I mean, come on, you know what I'm saying? Super Mario Brothers is not R-rated. I guess you could make it with Bowser biting, but it's really not. But I mean, like, come on, guys, Luigi.
That would be interesting. A
But I'm
rated
just saying,
R
like,
Super
it's the tone.
Mario.
It's like
Make it
there's
happen,
certain
Hollywood.
there's certain comic book characters that are PG-13, but then there's some that are R-rated. Like, it's all in the material. If the material warrants the tone to be a certain way, you just have to be consistent with it. That's all I'm saying. So to me, that was the main stuff I was looking for, and I was like, okay, yeah, but yes, story wise, stuff like that. Hopefully for the second one, hopefully there will be a sequel. They can improve and they can make it better, and at least do like two more. But yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, for
Oh
sure. I
yeah.
mean,
I'll
they
say.
leave the door open for
Yeah.
Johnny Cage and for eagle-eyed um, fans of the game. Like when they had the kind of that montage of all the murals and or what have you, those pictures, I should say, or
Yeah.
murals. They tease many characters that are in the universe of
Girls.
Mortal
Yeah.
Kombat. So like we had like Kotal Khan, we had and then we had a few other people. I feel like Baraka and a few
Yeah. They
other
showed. Yeah,
characters.
Brian. I was like,
They
yeah. I
showed
was like,
Nightwolf. They showed Nightwolf,
yeah,
so that
yeah,
was
yeah, yeah.
cool.
Did they? Yeah, they did. And
So yeah, for sure,
no, I
like
want
it'll
to see
be interesting.
Katana but honestly, with that Sub-Zero stuff, I know we keep going on about this. I mean, yeah, I'm sure they'll probably bring Sub-Zero, like the Good Brother or whatever, do something like that. But for me, I honestly, I want to get on to the other guys. I mean, you got Smoke, you got Ermac, Rain, yeah, Noob Sabat. I mean, you want to tie him in a different way, that's fine. I mean, have Reptile become like a ninja, like he's. And then you have like Katana. I mean, there's so many other characters. And then you have the what is it, the mechanical version. For some reason, I thought I saw Cyrax in the
Cyrax
trailer.
and Sector.
Yeah, Cyrax Sector, and you have like the smoke version of that too. I mean, there's so much they can do. So
But yeah, I mean, there's a lot that they could do. I mean, it's as I said, a great foundation. Like the current games going to the next generation of fighters. So I mean, if depending on how much they're able to go with this film and how many installments they do, they can get. I don't know if they'll ever get to this. I don't know if they will ever get to Cassie Cage or
Yeah,
Jackie Briggs
you
or
know more about
any of
that than
those
me.
characters. But
I had no
um,
idea. I don't know about all that, but yeah, I just want the main ones, right? The
but yeah,
foundation.
like you know, with all the characters and how extensive the lore is, like, you know, I would be excited to see some other characters that are in the recent games. Like, you know, there's so much potential with many of them in terms of like genre. I know, Jerome, perhaps you haven't played like the most recent games, but like Devora is like such a crazy character. So like if they were able to incorporate that, you know, that would provide an interesting dynamic to the world of Mortal Kombat to have
I'm gonna
that
have to look
character
into that, but yeah.
in there. So,
Oh, cool.
but
That's good.
again, we probably go on and on, but we're gonna, you know, cut it off there. I'm your host, Brandon Choi, host and co-creator of Movers and Shaker, and of course, I am joined by
Jerome Bourgeois, co-founder of Movie Shakers Unlimited. But yeah, definitely, I'm glad you guys tuned in. I know there's a little bit of a longer one, but definitely, you know, like, subscribe on YouTube, Movie Shakers Unlimited. You can follow me on Liam Productions 21 on Instagram, Liam Productions on Twitter, and then obviously, yeah, like us on Facebook, and definitely check us out every week. We always have this week in review show, and then we have a whole bunch of other ones. So I know, Brandon, you can talk about some of the other ones we have coming up. So
of course, yeah. So, yeah, you can find me and you can see it down there. You can find me at Brandon Troy ENT on Twitter. Let me pull it up. So there you go. Brandon Troy ENT on Twitter, Brandon Troy _ ENT on Instagram. And just as Jerome was saying, we do have some other shows that are on the way. We do have a chat on Falcon and Winter Soldier. So our show known only as Debriefed. The Falcon and Winter Soldier chat for the season, or I guess you could say series finale at this point, and until we hear further news about them possibly doing a season 2. We will be doing that chat tomorrow. We also will be having a chat regarding American Gods. I know we were having a retrospective that we were discussing, so we will have Emily Whitten, who is our host for that show, doing that show tomorrow. So debrief will be happening at 11 o'clock our time, so 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and then of course American Gods or AG Chat happening at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time tomorrow. Other than that, be on the lookout as there are some other interviews that are on the way. There will also be an audio version of AG Chat, so be on the lookout for that. I know we were having on the internet connection and for our guests that was happening on their end. So there also is a translated audio version that is on the way that you guys can enjoy. So be on the lookout for that. Other than that, thanks so much for watching. Be safe out there, guys, and